She loves to travel the world and has a particular affinity for Prague. She also loves wine from Chile, taking far too many photos, and rambling ceaselessly about Chicago architecture. She fancies herself a food critic to be reckoned with and writes reviews for Yelp. She also considers herself something of a poet, having been featured as a reader at the Green Muse in Austin, as well as in 2 reading series, The Inspired Word and An Echo, A Stain, in New York City. She's also published in poetry journals such as The Best of Stain, The Prada Poet, and in her collection, Shattered Fragments of My Soul. Please welcome Valerie Juby.
She also hasn't read in 2 years, so give me a little leeway here, guys. Okay, this is an old one I wrote when I was still in college, which was a century ago. My poetry teacher had said not to write about emotions because other better poets have already written about them. Yeah. So, this is recasting a cliche. Nothing, my dear, is new. It's all been done before. I try to keep from feeling good and as willing as a whore. Other greater poets have written what makes them seethe. I should never write on such, nor should feel, touch, or breathe. Alas, the air escapes my lungs, and from my heretic pen are flung the words you find absurd and urge we purge. But then, what, my dear, is poetry if it isn't true to how we feel? Let's keep it real, even if it isn't new. Romance. Never bring me flowers, please, but wear your heart upon your sleeve. Never walk me on the shore, just grow to love me more and more. Never write me pretty prose, write for love and write for woes. Be a tad bit sentimental, be extremely existential. Be as though from heaven sent, be exquisitely turbulent. Be a man with passion seething, be a man who's worth believing, not a man whose one redeeming quality is that he's leaving. A poem for my mom. Dear mother, I'm sorry that I tend to drink too much, which is to say I'm sorry that I'm such a goddamn lush, because alcohol erases the end of most of my nights, but at the very least I haven't been in too many barroom fights. So my friend asked me this question once about why we seem to love guys instead of paying attention to, like, education. I'm still in college again at this point. On love outweighing logic. She asks me why we throw ourselves into things that seem so pointless, like loving men who don't deserve the scribble of my pen tip. My dear friend, I have no idea. I only know we act as such because emotions outweigh logic and philosophy is less than touch. All our years of education, all our lofty high debate, are lost in flickers of such moments because they do not satiate. All our vast enlightened learning, all our non-sophomoric yearnings are yet tossed off at passion's burning because that lust is far more great. Oh, truly, I do love the scholars and seek out their most perfect prose, but in their lines I only see reflections of my wicked woes. And while I love with vigor learning, I might seem too oblivious, for all the knowledge of the world is less than his most tender kiss. Comparisons. One another. Only skunks, only, if you must know, skunks, can compare themselves to me. So adorably cute, so soft, they look so sweet. But if you get too close, my friend, what foulness they secrete. Thank you. And on that note, a poem about suicides. Quote. I used to work in movies, so the part about movies is true. But suicides have a special language. Like carpenters, they want to know which tool, they never ask why build. Sexton said that. Okay. Suicides don't have a special language. They have a language that comes equipped with such phrases as, please take care of the cat, and don't forget to pay the electric bill. Things like, your contact is Richard on the next movie gig, and his number is, making sure they're leaving a few less loose ends, taking care of you instead of taking better care of themselves. And they do not necessarily ask which tools. They've known their options and their preference, held up glinting in the light, might have made some arcane reference to it over dinner one night. And they always ask, why build? Why build a life? Why build a suicide? They judge the good and bad on a weighted scale, and sigh out life. Death makes perfect sense. They scribble notes as a common utterance. Don't forget to pay the electric bill, and goodbye, good night. kind of a love poem? The way it wants to be loved. Snatch me up like the best candy after the piñata has been broken. Yes, that is what it's like. Run to me, smiling like the wickedest roller coaster at the amusement park. Oh, that is it exactly. Speak of me like the most exciting arcade game you've never beaten. Oh, so I see. It's okay to love if you love this way. Snatch me up in your arms, be excited to see me. Speak of me in all amazement, or, for God's sake, leave me. Some mother-in-law's sentiment. Ever since you've taken my only daughter's hand in marriage, I have found that wedded bliss is one thing to disparage. Oh, some things you cannot change, and oh, some things you can. And oh, how I wish my daughter had better taste in men. Okay, this is one I wrote when I was studying World War I. So. Did Sophocles, whilst looking out over the vast Aegean, ponder the coming of wars? Did he look to the sea of 1914, battle-torn with infantry, of Australia, New Zealand, fighting on the peninsula where he had stood before? Did he comprehend the future of Germany, Australian aid, the Central Powers, staring out upon the sea so many stretching hours? Did he think the calm Aegean would be cut across by warships, making their slow way to the wild and bloody fray, years before another war with Germany at Auschwitz? Did he ponder long ago how many men could die in the future ways of war with trenches on both sides? Or did he merely feel the wind rising off the somber sea and look out over rolling waves and settle for philosophy? Okay, this is a poem I wrote a while back because my ex-boyfriend had said I would never have someone who would pay enough attention to me. Okay. I can feel this ache in my throat, this sadness of madness and doubt. So often I think of the past, in the past, how I thought of the past and wanted to rerun that route. And now I think of the past, of all my forevers that never could last, of all my endeavors that fled rather fast, leaving me wondering how dangerous love is, that it could have meant not being with you, whatever the stint. I think of the past with amazing abandon. I think of the past and know that at random I just have to laugh, knowing the best love I ever will have is the love that I'm loving right now. Of all the ironic, insane contradictions, of all the most gruesome, infernal afflictions, it is quite a term that I happily mention, and not in sarcasm, my well-liked convention, that I am in love and getting ample attention. And this is instantly one of my mom's favorite poems that I've written. Try to breathe the children in, I always hold it half a sin. They smell like cookies and taste as sweet, the children that live in the house up the street. Their mommies and daddies are always away, and the children run rampant for most of the day. So it's really quite easy to steal them, you see, for someone as resourceful and cunning as me. I trap them in cages of gobbledygoo and beat them with canes till they turn black and blue. They're howling with pain by the time when I'm through, and are tender enough for my meat child stew. Okay, a couple more. This one is kind of creepy, but I was falling asleep. I had gone to Adrian Rich's poetry reading, and I was falling asleep at night, and it came into my head, and the ending surprised me, so I had to write it down. He pushed himself forward and ran hard over the roots and all that dirt, and fell into a pool, mud, thrust himself up and ran harder, forcing calves, thighs, legs onward, tense. Force, strength, feral, his pursuers close behind him. He ran toward the peach grove down the hill, his pursuers close at his heel. And he darted like a shot into the yellow peach grove, under the darkening sky, below low-hanging branches, the dimming light, ran through the peach grove and into the oak forest, jumping down a ledge and swiftly slid under it. His pursuers ran heatedly past. Though if they'd come back, and they did later, they would have seen the marks in the sand and the slide of his skin and the spot where he hid, and stopped him from raping and killing another young victim, a 5-year-old kid. And after they're dead, the newspapers read, after they're dead, he rapes them again. So that's how my mind works, apparently. Okay, I'm reading this one just because my boyfriend asked me to. Or something I wrote a long time ago. When I write, I feel like I am someone. I am writing this down. I am someone writing this down for someone else to read. Oh, but writing because I am someone. God told me, God begged me, God sanctioned me to write. I have to write. Me not writing would be a great affront to the world, to myself. And you just don't do that. You just don't step on anybody's toes, offend, belittle someone when that someone has to write. You let them write. Honestly, I just like the way it feels. here's the last one. It's a poem I wrote about me years and years ago that everyone still seems to think is pretty adequate assessment. So, ideals. Lash my back, burn my skin. I am bound to fail you somehow. My ways are not too feminine. Perhaps I do not make you proud. I rarely wear dresses, I burp and then blow. A sailor might blush at the curse words I know. My hair is cut short and a little bit strange, drawn to just quiver at my emotional range. I ask absurd questions you find impolite, and I'm usually sloshed by the end of the night. I crave attention, I bicker, I write too much prose. Conservatives gasp at the sight of my clothes. I discuss my old boyfriends, I slack on my dreams. You can never be certain what my comments might mean. You don't introduce me, I whine all the time. I'm angry then tell you that everything's fine. I bring up the past, and I'm scared of the future. My wrist was just stitched with 3 little sutures. I cost too much money but want to spend more. I'm always discussing becoming a whore. I played you home movies that made you feel nauseous. You've planned out your future while I rarely am cautious. These are all things I hope you'll abide, and I'd still love to have you along for the ride.
Good job, dude.